Third time lucky. So, yeah. What's the process of hiring staff within the academy, and what level of support do you have throughout that process?
I'm not sure what you mean by the level of support. Basically it's a determination is made largely through me and Don.
Okay.
As a technical director on who's going to move forward. I would prefer to hire people internally and have internal promotion, although sometimes that's extremely difficult with people's desires to actually move up and also their ability levels. So we've gone outside the last couple of hires. The problem with that is you don't really know what you're going to get, and it takes 6 months to a year to find out what you really have. So to be honest, it's a word of mouth process. Sometimes can be very frustrating, but I'd rather hire people of good character that I can teach than hire people that have a big resume. So
Interesting. So then, how do you think your coaching philosophy affects the way you want to evaluate your coaches and then help them grow?
For a long time, I'm not sure that I necessarily had a coaching philosophy other than in an innate way of saying you've got to make kids believe that you're there for them first and you really care about them, and helping them learn and develop and grow as a human being and as a soccer player. I was lucky because we were very good early. I had some very good players that when I was a very young coach that really helped shape that sort of philosophy, I guess, or that vision of what it is. So I don't know how that necessarily helps. It helps me now because now the coaching has actually been studied, so they've determined, that there are these 4 C's of developing character, of connecting with people, of developing competence, and then developing competence, which falls directly into a philosophy that I always sort of adhered to on my own without really writing it down.
So then, just based off that, then what efforts have you made to improve the club culture and the academy culture?
That's a good question. We've had a real struggle recently because the name change made us feel like a B team, like a pulled in 2 different directions and spread too thin. And the culture of the girls' side were really improved in the last 18 months, where the boys' culture went down and the standards dropped because there wasn't enough influence or wasn't enough accountability or support to the coaching staff, in my opinion, for what they had going on. And so that it's an ongoing problem. You see cultures spur up and really do well for a while. Leadership changes, results differ, and cultures go down again. Coaches move on, and so the difficulty is really sustaining culture.
Okay. So what's your philosophy on conflict management?
Deal with it as fast as you can if you know what you're doing. Sometimes you want to sit on things if you don't really know, if you're unsure about what's going on, but if you've got a conflict that has to be dealt with, you've got to deal with it as quickly as possible.
And then what's your process of planning for the professional development of your staff?
Right now it's been pretty easy in sense of trying to get the people through the federation licenses, because it's a national standard that they should want to secure for their own career path. In terms of our own development internally, the struggle is just time. When do we have the time to put it together, and why? So, with the changeover to become the youth and Dynamo Dash, we've lost part of our outside coaching education, or internal coaching education. That's, I shouldn't say outside, additional work that we need to get back to doing, to discuss things like time management within a training session. How do I manage different players within a training session? How do I manage this kind of character? How do I defend a set piece? We could go on and on, but really establishing what our way is as an organization.
Excellent. And then, who's your role model within coaching or teaching?
I have three predominant ones. Mentors. I had mentors long before mentors were possible, or not possible, or before they were popular.
Okay.
The reason is because of my art background, the craft in developing as a painter, or the Altier school of thought is that when you're learning a craft, you go and study underneath a mentor. Learning that at the age of 19, 20, when I get into coaching, I had three specific ones. Tim Schultz, who's with the Rush; Jay Hoffman, who's with the national teams right now and worked for me in Virginia for 7 years. Was on the '99 World Cup winning bench, and was a very good coach. Still is today. He's all the coaching education for U.S. soccer. And then Gordon Miller, who coached me when I was 15, 16 years old, who coached national teams in Canada, 17s and 23s, and is now the state director of Virginia. Those are the three major mentors, soccer-wise. And I believe in it. I believe in the relationship that's established. I believe that as Gordon would say, the mentor sometimes then becomes the peer, like took place in our relationship, over the process of probably a 10-year progression. When he brought me in when I was a very, very young coach underneath Schulte and him and the regional staff, and they just kind of worked with me. The curriculum-based knowledge that you get in a course-like setting doesn't have the details or the level of intensity that it impacts you consistently, whereas the stories that the mentors can tell you and the experiences you have with the mentors, you don't forget as easily. And those stories are related through their own personal experience and shared through their experiences, which constantly remind you of what needs to take place at what time. For instance, I was working with Gordon years ago. I was a young coach, probably similar to your age. I was the assistant regional team coach for the 85 boys, and he told me, when you go on the field to deal with the trainer, you turn to me immediately and you give me this signal. He rotated his fingers around like this, meaning we're going to change or no. So it was very clear, and I didn't give it fast enough the first time at an international event, and he explained to me, he got a little upset, as most of the time those guys of their era did, and chewed my backside for a while. But